Welcome back to Surrey Supernatural. My name is Graham, and today we are diving into the difference between what the movies tell us and the real stories that inspire them. We are starting with the 2002 film The Mothman Prophecies, starring Richard Gere. The film centers around Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in the United States, and a wave of strange and unsettling events reported there in the 1960s. It also introduces us to a man named John Keel. This character is based on a real person, paranormal researcher and author John Keel, who investigated the area during that time. In the movie, John Keel, played by Richard Gere, is portrayed as a journalist working for the Washington Post. In reality, John Keel was not a newspaper reporter, he was a writer and paranormal investigator with a deep interest in UFOs, strange creatures and unexplained phenomena. Keel originally travelled to Point Pleasant in 1966 to write an article for Playboy magazine about UFO sightings. While he was there, he began hearing reports about a strange winged creature that witnesses described as having glowing red eyes. This creature would later become known as the Mothman. Keel went on to document the sightings and the other bizarre events linked to the area in his book The Mothman Prophecies, which many people consider the main source behind the legend as we know it today. In reality, the true story also introduces someone the film leaves out entirely, a journalist named Mary Hyre, who worked for the Athens Messenger. She was one of the key local figures during the Point Pleasant events. She was in regular contact with John Keel and helped document many of the strange sightings and witness accounts coming from the area. Another unsettling detail that rarely makes it into movies versions involves the physical effects reported by witnesses. Several people who claimed to have seen the Mothman or strange UFO lights later reported problems with their eyes. Witnesses described a dry, gritty, almost sandy feeling, along with redness, swelling and excessive watering. These symptoms were consistent with conjunctivitis, which some believe could have been caused by exposure to intense ultraviolet light. One witness, Mary Hyre, stood out. She was among the first to report seeing a Mothman, but she also was the only person to have suffered ear-related problems. During a later sighting, she reported hearing a loud and metallic sound, after which her ear began to bleed. John Keel suggested this could have been a symptom of concussion, possibly caused by a sudden change in air pressure. The first widely reported Mothman sighting came from two young married couples, Steve and Mary Hyre and Roger and Linda Scarberry. Close to midnight on Tuesday, November the 15th, 1966, the couple were out driving in Scarberry's car when they spotted something near an old TNT area outside Point Pleasant. They described the creature as being around 6 or 7 feet tall with glowing red eyes and wings spanning nearly 10 feet. One of them famously said it was like a man with wings. They claimed the creature moved awkwardly on the ground, almost clumsily. But once airborne, it seemed capable of incredible speed. They estimated it flew at nearly 100 miles per hour as it followed their car. They also noted that his eyes only appeared to glow red when caught in the car headlights. Time distortion was another strange element reported by witnesses. Some people claimed that during these encounters they would lose track of time, either far more or far less than they realised had passed. One story tells of two young lovers parked in a car when a strange glowing ball of light hovered nearby. They later said it felt like they only watched it for a few seconds, but when they checked the time, nearly 2 hours had passed. John Keel himself also reported strange experiences that made him feel as if something was aware of his thoughts. One incident was similar to the scene in the movie, involving a mysterious figure known as Ingrid Cold. However, unlike in the film, Keel did not hide his watch. Instead, he asked the voice on the phone where he had misplaced his stopwatch. The voice told him exactly where it was, and when Keel checked, it was shocked to find it there. People in the area also reported strange phone disturbances. Some received calls that contained only beeping or loud screeching noises. Others said their calls were interrupted by static or suddenly disconnected. These issues were not limited to telephones. Police radios and even televisions were said to be affected. In some cases, calls were recorded, but when played back later, there was nothing but static. Then there was the traffic collapse of the Silver Bridge. The bridge, built in 1928, collapsed on December the 15th, 1967 during rush hour, with 37 vehicles on it at the time. Witnesses said the traffic lights on the bridge had been malfunctioning that day, causing cars to back up across the structure. The movie states that 36 people died, but in reality 46 people lost their lives. The director later explained that the number was changed because they did not want as many deaths portrayed in the film. In the movie, John Keel jumps into the river to save a police officer. In real life, this never happened. At the time of the bridge collapse, Keel was not in Point Pleasant at all. He was in his apartment in New York watching the Christmas tree lighting at the White House on television. So what do people think the Mothman really is? There are several theories. Some believe the Mothman is a being that appears before disasters. Sightings have been reported before major tragedies around the world, including Chernobyl, and then seem to fade away afterwards. Others in Point Pleasant connect the creature to the curse of the chief Cornstalk. According to legend, the chief and his son were killed by soldiers who were trying to warn them about unrest among native tribes. Some stories claim he placed the curse with his dying words, and that the Mothman is somehow tied to that curse. A thunderbird from Native American folklore is another theory. These legendary birds are said to create thunder with their wings and lightning with their eyes. More down-to-earth explanations have also been suggested. Some believe witnesses may have seen a sandhill crane, a large bird with an impressive wingspan. However, these birds are not native to the area, and many feel this does not fully explain the sightings. A weather balloon has also been proposed, possibly released to study air currents. Most people reject his idea, saying a balloon cannot be mistaken for a large winged creature. Journalist Mary Hyre once suggested that the creature might have been a large owl. Although an owl only stands a couple of feet tall, its wingspan can make it look much larger in flight. Still, the original witnesses insisted what they saw did not match any known bird. There is even the idea that the Mothman could be some kind of surviving prehistoric bird. What do you think the Mothman really is? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to bring you more spooky content. Until next time, stay spooky.